We analyze vast amounts of data to understand the risk profile of that company and how an attacker could actually attack that company looking from outside. The key is not to feel like you're going to fail, and not to feel afraid of asking questions. I think the most important thing to be successful is to ensure that at the company level, there are few North Star metrics that everybody aligns with and know what we are going after. Are the goals clear?
Hi all, good morning. So today I have Payal with us, who has an expertise in a wide range of topics, including product management, cybersecurity, and SaaS. In her previous role, she has led the development of cutting-edge products in the fields of AIOps, DevSecOps, and cloud infrastructure management. She is currently working on building the next generation risk platform for a cybersecurity company using the power of cybersecurity and insure-tech to provide attack surface monitoring, cyber risk rating, and third-party monitoring. She's a woman tech boss. She knows how it is to face some of the obstacles and challenges when you are a woman of color moving your way up the ladder. Let's welcome Payal on 10 Minutes of Buying Wisdom, where she will tell us about what it's like working in a field that might be predominantly men and how things are changing now. Hi, Payal. How are you doing today?
Hey, Meenal, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Payal, first of all, can you tell me what drew you to tech in the first place?
What drew me to tech in the first place? Is that your
Yes.
question? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Definitely the ability to change the world in a small way, um, make it a better place for the next generation. Um, Tech has a lot of opportunity. It's forever evolving, and it's forever, you're never done. You're always learning. I love that aspect of tech.
Okay. I think growing up, a lot of women specifically, I just want to hone down on that. A lot of women who weren't into tech usually used to be like, oh, women can be a doctor, a nurse, or something like that. But now it's amazing to see a lot of women leaders who are paving their way towards success, being inspirational leaders to other women out there. So, did you face a lot of setbacks or challenges from your experience or your journey that you were like, okay, tech might be a bit hard for me?
Um, I did. I think no journey is complete without challenges. I would say that there have been instances where I've had imposter syndrome or been challenged to get out of my comfort zone. And it's all for the good, because it pushed me to learn more, to go deeper, to understand problems better all the time. And the key is not to feel like you're going to fail, and not to feel afraid of asking good questions. If you can take a complex problem and ask really good questions, break it down, and into smaller parts, which you can then go deep and understand, that builds a wealth of knowledge based on which you can build products, you can make decisions for a company.
Okay, I love the solution oriented approach that you take because I think breaking down bigger problems always helps you to see it in smaller components, and then you can focus down on a specific niche and work from there onwards. So, thank you so much for sharing that, Pyle. So, Pyle, you're working with a company that's growing. Would love to understand what your role is within the company and what the company specifically does as well.
Yeah. So at Coalition, our mission is to protect the unprotected. Our founder and CEO, when they came up with this idea, it's interesting how small medium businesses are now, have been, in the last few years, have been forced to come online, do business online digitally, and they are now primary targets for cyber attacks and ransomware, which was not the case before. Right now they have information and data that can be stolen, and attackers and hackers can misuse that. And this segment has no idea about cyber security. Right, this is not your big companies who are throwing millions of dollars into security and have big teams and who are constantly monitoring and protecting the company. These companies don't know anything about security. So the idea that you can give them the financial security with an cyber insurance policy, and then detect their cybersecurity risks and help them to fix those risks along the way and improve their security posture is phenomenal, because it then you are taking an entire underserved segment and improving their security posture and improving their overall business hygiene and health, and as they grow.
Okay,
So
I think it
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. So my role specifically is focused on the risk and security side of things. So every time we insure a company, a small company, or whatever size it is, we analyze vast amounts of data to understand the risk profile of that company and how an attacker could actually attack that company looking from outside. And then based on that risk, based on that analysis and based on various other analysis about the company, about their size, etc., or industry, we make decisions on how we price the risk, whether we should insure them or not. And once we do insure them, then what we are doing is absolutely unique, because your risks are always changing. It's not a point in time. I give you an insurance and you're done, right? Your risks are forever changing. And this is not, I think in the world of insurance, like you can't prevent a hurricane or you cannot prevent disease, but you can prevent a cyber incident if you can monitor and detect signals early on. So we monitor and detect signals, and then we get them to fix the issues, and that overall improves their security posture over time and makes us successful over time, because we have less claims. We have 70% less claims than any other player in the market. And that's the whole fun of what we call active insurance.
Oh, I love that. I think, first of all, hats off to your company for constantly understanding that the risk is constantly changing and ensuring your clients based on that. Because at the end of the day, you want to minimize the risk, you want to minimize the
Yeah.
cybersecurity attack. And for you to understand that, okay, there might be risks that are constantly changing, you provide them with very customer centric approach, and then
Yeah.
you help the company to minimize those attacks in the first place. So hats off that your company is doing something right. And I understand why your company is constantly growing, because the customer centric approach that you take makes sense, that why customers would want to keep coming back to you for issues like that. So
Mhm.
thank you so much for sharing that, Paya. Paya, my
Sure.
next question to you would be is, your role is very data intensive specifically, and you work with a lot of people report to you within that. So there would be, as in, like, for it to be successful, there must be a lot of good communication, a lot of transparency. So how do you, as a leader, ensure that there's room for collaboration, for room for communication and transparency?
Yes, absolutely. In this role, or any product role, or as a product manager, product leader, you have many stakeholders you're interfacing with. From data to engineering to sales to underwriters, in this case, customer success. So there's many different stakeholders. I think the most important thing to be successful is to ensure that, at the company level, there are few North Star metrics that everybody aligns with and know what we are going after. Are the goals clear? And that has been the case with Coalition, where we've had sort of four key metrics, and we know that everybody in the company knows what those metrics are. Those dashboards are transparent. Everybody knows how we are doing against those metrics. Now you take those big metrics, and those are big goals, and you break them down into what are we going to do to move the needle, right? And that's where that's how we define our strategy and everything else. Now every time we set a goal for ourselves, or an OKR for ourselves, we are we make sure that we are tying up to the bigger goals, right? Bigger company metrics. And then the sub goals have ownership, right? So you have ownership, you have dashboards that tell you how you're doing against those metrics that you have set. And that helps align stakeholders and explain to them what are we moving towards ultimately at the end of the day. So in general, we are a pretty heavy data driven company. Everything we do, we use data to make decisions. We use data to prove whether we should implement something, we should execute on something. So we have a pretty strong data science team. So data is pretty much everyday part of our every day in the morning. Most people in the company who own outcomes are looking at dashboards and seeing how we are doing against them.
Okay, I love the standardized approach that you take, how everyone has a key idea regarding the four matrix and how they have to go from there. So thank you so much for sharing that, Paya. Paya, last two questions. So I just wanted to know whether your company is hiring and it's growing, and what are some of the things that you look for in candidates when you have an opening within your team specifically?
Sure. Yes, we are hiring. I am hiring. We're looking for stellar product managers to join us. The company is growing pretty healthy. When we are hiring, we're looking for. We have some cultural principles on what we value. Right, at the most important, like we value responsibility and purpose. Like, do your work purposefully, and you take big ownership to drive what you own. Secondly, we really value authenticity. So are you authentic? Like, bring yourself to work, bring your ideas, be yourself, and stand up for your decisions. Humility and inclusion are also very important. Are you a good collaborator? Do you work well with teams and you include everyone? So these are some standard cultural principles we always interview for. And beyond that, we're looking for folks who are doers, who who want to make outcomes happen. It's a pretty autonomous. We believe in an autonomous culture. You give autonomy to a hire, give them their goals, let them define their goals, and then your success and your failures are yours. You go drive the mission, and make it happen. So we're looking for mission driven doers, who have an eye for data, understand why we are doing something, and be really clearly passionate about customers and how to improve, like how to have how to build products that have great customer satisfaction. So yeah.
Okay. No, no. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, Payal, our time is up. It was an absolute pleasure having you as a guest on the show, for sharing some of the obstacles that you faced as a woman, how you paved your way towards success by asking the right questions, by ensuring that you always took a solution centric approach, by breaking the problems down into smaller components, how you are as a woman, how you are as a leader, most importantly, and what are some of the steps that you take to ensure that your team is highly efficient. I'm pretty sure the people that work under you are very lucky, because your empathetic heart and your openness to communication is something that's very invaluable. I wish you all the best and future success, because anyone who would be working with you would be very lucky. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Meenal. Thanks for having me.